He hasn't
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you, and we welcome you to the Save Mart Center here in beautiful Fresno, California, as Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated presents a big night of boxing brought to you by Geico. Introducing our judges scoring this bout in the ring, we have Chris Migliori, Dr. Lou Moret, and Steve Morrow. All right, fans, here we go. 10 rounds of boxing scheduled for the vacant WBC Continental Americas and W.
大家好，老师从业中医男科30余年，帮助了数千名海内外华人朋友通过中药调理重回男性雄风。如果你也存在房事时间短、勃起无力、硬度差、中途疲软、肾虚、前列腺炎等问题，现在就加中医老师微信574-993-200，纯中药，一人一方，治根治本，帮助你持续坚挺20至40分钟，补肾壮阳，延时助勃，彻底告别快男软男。记住微信574-993-200。
Undefeated Hiroki Okada. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing burgundy trunks with white trim, fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, by way of Los Mochis, Sinaloa, Mexico. He weighed in at a ready 139 pounds, his record 35 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, and 1 no decision, with 21 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former WBO lightweight champion of the world, introducing Raimundo Beltran.
Beltran, Okada, the tail of the tape. Beltran 37, Okada 26 years old. They both weighed in under the 140-pound limit, 139 flat for Beltran. A 4-inch reach advantage for Okada, who comes in undefeated, 19-0, Christina, 6 KOs in his last 10 fights.
In your hand. Okay, Coach, this is high. I'm going to let him work in here, okay? This is right on the money, maybe a little bit high. We'll let him work. Mouthpiece, I gave you both instructions. I just want to remind you, listen and obey my commands at all time. Protect yourself at all time. Fight hard, fight clean. Good luck to both of you.
Jack Reese with the particulars, and we are ready to go. Our co-main event here in Fresno, Okada and Beltran for the vacant WBC Continental Americas title, the vacant WBO Intercontinental title at the super lightweight division. Beltran looking to change that 0-3 record against undefeated opponents. He is in the maroon velvet trunks, with Okada in the gray trunks with the silver trim. Okada, his second fight here in the U.S. from his native Japan. Both of his fights in the U.S. have been here in Fresno.
We talked leading up to this fight about the changes in the corner for the main event fighters. A big change for Ray Beltran in his corner. He had been with Pepe Riley for pretty much his entire career and made a change after his last fight, and now he has was working with Marvin Somodio, who broke away from Freddie Roach and has his own training. He in the corner tonight, though, has Brian Valoria and Pedro Neme in his corner. Brian McComb has stayed on his team, so some adjustments, some changes there, kind of a trainer by committee, if you will, for Ray Beltran leading into this fight.
Beltran said that he felt like that his trainers was just getting a little bit too comfortable and they was getting away from the basics. They was worrying about knockouts or left hook knockouts. And so, like the last fight,
like Buddy McGirt and
Kovalev. They would say, hey, stay with the basics, stay with the basics.
Beltran's last fight was a loss to Jose Pedraza. As Christina alluded to, making the switch in the corner. Okada, 29 years old, 7 years as a pro. Former Japanese super lightweight champion. Ranked number 10 by the WBC at this weight class.
Only Okada's second fight here in the United States. In fact, his first fight was right here in Fresno on a Jose Ramirez undercard, and he's back again. Had some troubles making weight in that fight, adjusting to the diet and the food that we have here in the United States. This time made a change, brought his wife and his daughter along with him to training camp and to come here for the fight. She's been cooking his food all week, made weight much easier this time around. It feels 100% better than he did last time he was here, at least in terms of making weight.
He said it was the mashed potatoes that did him in.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there. Mashed potatoes have done a good number of us in.
He said he stuck to a diet of fish, chicken, rice, and vegetables.
Good back and forth here in round number one. Beltran caught Okada with a left hook.
Yeah, I don't like what Ray's doing right now. Ray's not using his jab. He's pressing him with his legs, but he's not using his jab. He's not when he's coming forward, he's not giving it anything.
Straight right from Okada. 24 seconds to go in round number one. Okada, on the other hand, Bomac has used that jab to set up the combinations. Overhand right by Beltran. Four jabs in a row from Okada.
See, the old Ray would have threw about 4 or 5 jabs.
Instead, he fires off 2 left hooks to end round number one. So Okada, WBO Asia Pacific Super Lightweight Champion. His first 18 fights over the first 7 years of his career were all in Tokyo. And now an opportunity for him for a second time in the U.S. against a much more experienced and older fighter in Ray Beltran, who has had 4 cracks at World Championship fights. He is the former lightweight champion. He's 1-2-1 in those World Championship fights. And I guess the question is, does he have enough left in the tank to get back to that level?
Number 2.
Well, that's the question. Yeah, that's what everyone is looking to see if they can find an answer to tonight. Is Hiroki Okada the opponent to answer that question? Well, let's see if he can get in there.
Time out.
Are we missing a mouthpiece here?
Give me your glove. Give me your glove.
Time out.
Oh, something.
Glove malfunction.
Piece of tape on the glove of Beltran. Jack Reese, the referee, all over it.
It's getting back to that question, though, against Okada. If he knocks him out, is Ray Beltran back? And if he gets knocked out, should he hang him up? I mean, there's really a lot on the line, I think, for Ray Beltran in this fight.
Good left hand comes across from Beltran as Okada goes right back to the jab. Settles himself down with that jab, does Okada.
And let me be fair in mentioning, in Beltran's last few fights, he did suffer injuries, either leading into the fight or during the fight. So before the Paulus Moses fight, when he won the world title, he hurt his right hand. And then in the Pedraza fight, during the fight, he tore his tendon in his left wrist. So in his defense, he'll say, yeah, I wasn't at 100% my last 2 fights. So how do I know if I'm done? Or how do the fans know if I'm done when it hasn't even been all of me in those 2 fights because of the injuries?
You'll know when you're done, when you feel it in your heart.
And he doesn't yet. He doesn't.
Beltran knocks down Okada with a left that came across. Okada didn't see it coming.
Maybe he felt that in his heart. Okada did with that knockdown right there from Ray Beltran. An early knockdown here in round 2.
And Beltran capitalized. Goes right back to the left upstairs. Okada in the corner.
I'd like to see Ray. Ray should have been touching him with that jab a little bit, stalling. He's just looking for one shot.
And I got the feeling in talking to Okada this week that he was kind of he was not very confident in himself, and he almost seemed kind of scared of Ray Beltran. He said, I've only watched 2 or 3 of his fights. I don't watch him because he's scary. He even said that.
He has a scary face.
Yeah, he says he has a scary face.
It's a bit of an insult, I think.
And I mean, I think that maybe the language barrier, it was a hard time to translate that, but he's scary, he's aggressive, he knows he's been in wars, and I think he doesn't want to...
Oh, Beltran gets wobbled. Okada trying to seize the opportunity with Beltran on the ropes. Beltran right back with the left hand upstairs. A straight right from Okada. Beltran caught in the corner. Trying to dodge the bullets from Okada.
Beltran needs to throw a punch.
Yeah, he needs to move his legs a little bit too.
He needs to throw
just
a
sitting
punch.
on those punches, sitting on the ropes.
Left hook from Beltran.
Jack Reese is letting him fight it out because he's dipping some of those shots, but he needs to move.
Okada trying to tee up Beltran. Beltran left of his own. And Okada back on his heels to finish the round. A fantastic round here at Fresno.
We got the 14,000 of these fans on their feet. Almost 2 knockdowns. Okada down, and Ray saved it. He just gloved, he did a little squat. His glove didn't touch the ground, but...
It looked like the rope might have saved him.
So Okada got knocked down first. And then Beltran gets wobbled. It wasn't a knockdown. How do we score that round here, folks?
He just kind of got off balance.
9-8 round.
9-8?
9-8 round.
From a 10-8 to a 10-9, maybe?
You know, the thing was, when Beltran got wobbled, he went back in the corner, and Okada threw about 15 punches. I don't think a single one of them landed. You guys were talking about having Beltran move out of the corner, but he was moving enough in the corner to at least not get hit with anything further.
Well, and I think that's why Jack Reese let him continue, because he was kind of had his hands up, and he's sitting there and he's dodging punches and slipping and dipping, but at the same time it's like, why just stand there?
Right.
Why not move and get out of the way, or at least answer back with 1 shot and give yourself some distance?
Round number 3.
See how well that he's recovered, because I feel like even though Beltran didn't hit the canvas, he was hurt more than Okada was when Okada got knocked down.
Question, Bomac, I think, for Beltran, too, is he has thrown a ton of punches here in the first couple rounds, and given his age, is his conditioning going to be good enough to where he can continue that pace throughout the course of this fight?
Ray's always been in good condition. He's never had a problem
the fighter
with,
meetings, Okada himself told us the best punch from Ray Beltran is his right. Well, his corner is saying, hey, watch out for that left hook because he tagged you with it. Keep your right hand up and work off of that.
Right hook to the body for Beltran as they get in the pocket. A little less movement here to start the 3rd round for Okada. Okada just sitting on the ropes.
Yeah. You can't do that with Ray. Ray's too tricky for that. Ray's still coming forward and not using his jab. I like to see him use his jab.
Goes to the body.
Can't leave his head right there in the middle.
Good uppercut by Beltran. Okada moves out of trouble with a left hook. They trade lefts. Standing toe-to-toe. 125 to go in the 3rd round. An exciting bout. Uppercut from Okada.
Let him go, Ray. Pull your arm out.
We saw the first round and a half. Okada was able to get good distance, but Beltran has found his way inside.
And that's where Okada is most confident, is when he can find the distance. He does not really want to fight in this inside game. At least that's what he said. He said, I'm confident in my distance. I do not want to get dragged into an inside fight.
Well, he's getting dragged into one right now.
He's not doing too bad right now.
No, but he's holding his own.
Yeah.
Beltran comes across with the right.
Big
Overhand right. Okada against the ropes. Okada trying to stand his ground. Referee Jack Reese says there's a cut on Okada.
Cut from a punch. Ray can dig to the body, try to get him to draw those hands down.
Ray looked like he may have had him right there, but did Ace play a part where he could not finish you?
Kind of let off the gas a little bit as he kind of opened his mouth and took some deep breaths.
A combination from Okada with the straight right finishing it. Beltran ties him up. 10 seconds to go in the 3rd.
Stop. Stanley, look. Stanley, look. I got a cut from a punch. Box.
Once again, referee Jack Reese saying a cut from a punch. It's above the left eye of Hiroki Okada. Well, we have not lacked for excitement so far in this bout.
I know, Bomac, you were really looking forward to this fight. You said it, all week long, and it's lived up to it so far through 3 rounds.
Man, as I did my scouting report on Okada, he's a great boxer. Like to keep his distance. Ray's one of those type of fighters you want to come for. He want to stay close to you, and he want to hit you with those big shots.
And for the most part, yes, he did get knocked down in round 2. It's what was more of a quick knockdown. He's done a good job handling those shots for Ray. There's been fighters that have gone down from several of those shots that we have seen Ray throw so far. So
that left hook of Ray's, man, got devastating written all on it.
He's landed it a couple times. There was that right hook there that led to the cut. The left came across as well. You see the blood on the forehead of Beltran's. It was not his own. It was Okada's. Moving to round number 4.
You talked about the left hand from Beltran, and Okada says his best punch is his jab. He believes that's his best weapon.
Stop. Box.
And he hasn't, it doesn't seem like it stood out so far early in this fight because,
Okada got tagged with an overhand right. Beltran working inside with the uppercut. Okada slips momentarily, retreats back to the corner. Beltran stalking.
Tagging Okada to the body and back up to the head.
Left-right combinations for Beltran. Let's see if Okada can get out of it.
Okada did buckled about 3 or 4 times already. It's just a matter of time, I guess, before Ray hit him with a good shot. I believe Ray has to hit him with 2 good shots in order for him to go down again.
Okada was knocked down in the second. Goes left on the inside. Again, Okada finds himself on the ropes. And Christina, something you said earlier, he doesn't want to be in an inside fight. He doesn't want to find himself on the ropes, yet continually, that's where he's been positioned.
But surprisingly, maybe to his own surprise, he's done pretty well when he's been on the inside.
They trade in the corner. A left-right combination by Beltran.
I don't like Beltran's head being in the middle. It's an easy target.
Okada did catch him with a straight right that buckled Beltran for a moment.
Beltran just walking in without a jab. That's not a good thing for him. He should use that jab, try to open up something.
He hasn't thrown any jabs through 3.5 rounds now.
Stop. Okay, don't do it. Box.
The cut over the eye of Okada doesn't seem to be too severe. Good combination by Okada. Landed that uppercut.
Let him go. Work out of
the pocket.
Work. Pull your arms out, Ray.
Jack Reese letting these 2 fighters work it out themselves. Left hook from Okada. He goes right back to the jab. We've seen when Okada has gotten hurt, it's been when he's moved away from the jab and found himself in a corner like he is now. Overhand right from Beltran. Goes to the body with the left. 10 seconds to go in the round. Okada missing on an uppercut of his own.
Time. Ray, look at me. Just still.
Ray trying to stay close to him so he can get off 2 or 3 good clean shots. I don't like that. I would like for him to stay behind his jab. To work his jab up and down like he used to, like the old Ray Beltran used to.
Yes, please.
So if you're Okada, Bomac, what's he done so far? What do you want to see him improve?
Create a little bit more distance between the both of them by using my legs and staying off the ropes, because Ray got him pinned on the rope. Use my legs, spin him out. Use the whole ring instead of just using the ropes.
You have to be impressed, Christina, with Okada's ability to take a punch there in round 4 and round 3 because Beltran was giving him all he has.
Sure, I mean, I think that maybe he's even surprised because he didn't think that, you know, the inside game, and he didn't know how his chin would hold up against Ray Beltran. He was quite transparent in the fighter meetings, but he said he had a great training camp. He made weight. He feels 100%, you know, fantastic for this fight. And so far, even though he got dropped in the second round, you know, he's in this fight. He's taking every punch, and he's dishing some out too.
He said his best punch was the
jab.
The jab, and it's working for him.
I think he can use it more.
Yeah.
Okada starts the 5th round working that jab. We've seen the hooks from Beltran be his go-to punches so far. Both left and right have been available to him. Drops down to the body. Beltran hasn't thrown a ton of body shots, but when he has, he's been effective. The straight right from Okada caught Beltran, but Beltran goes right back to work.
Yeah, he walked right into that straight right hand and just kept coming forward. So let's see if that can continue, because he's got to come forward, as Bomac said, using more of the jab, not using his head to come forward. He brings his head straight forward.
Yeah.
Leaving it out there for Okada.
Fighters get cut, headbutts.
And he has one. Ray also has a cut.
Yes, he does.
I believe it's over his left eyebrow.
Let him go. Work out of it. Ray, pull your right arm out, Ray. Work.
Jack Ray's doing a good job of just giving him instructions, letting him work out a little bit.
Okada a combination after he got tagged.
Okada just needs to use his legs a little bit more. Create some distance.
All right, stop.
Beltran has been content, Bomac, with putting that head down and marching forward. And that could do you in pretty quickly if that's the position you want to take in the center of the ring.
That right hand Ray just threw it. It didn't land flush, but you can tell he's looking for that flush right hand. That left hook is already there because that's what he likes to throw.
Work out of there, Ray. Let him go.
Okada so far here in the 5th, the only round he hasn't found himself in the corner. He's done a good job keeping his distance, like you talked about, Bomac, during the break. And standing in the center of the ring, trading with Beltran.
And what a good appetizer this is for our main event coming up next. The 140-pound WBC championship fight with the champion Jose Ramirez taking on Jose Zepeda. What a good opening bout this is for that fight on our main broadcast here.
Let him go. Let him go. Work out of it. Come on.
30 seconds to go in round number 5. Straight right from Okada after the 3-punch combination landed.
Go, Ray. That's it.
Overhand right from Beltran. And a left from Beltran.
Ray, let your right arm go. Stop.
And as soon as Okada loses that distance control, Bomac, that's when Beltran's been able to strike.
That's what Beltran wants to be at, close to him. You don't want to use his jab, so you got to stay close to him so you can let his hands go.
We talked a lot about, Christina, what Okada's comments were coming into this fight. Obviously his second in the U.S. But for Beltran, a guy who has been around the block, 37 years old, after 5 rounds here against a much younger opponent and a guy who's undefeated, how do you assess what Beltran's been able to do given what his game plan was coming into this fight?
I mean, I think that he, like Bomac said, pretty much has abandoned the jab and much of his boxing that we thought we were going to see a little bit more of his boxing. At least that's what he alluded to, going back to the basics, and he's kind of back to his brawling, coming forward, putting his head down and just throwing punches. But we'll see if he can make some adjustments here as we move forward, you know, going in through the middle of the fight.
Well, to be fair, he's been able to sustain that style so far.
Maybe Ray's just at that point in his career till he's just going back to resorting to what he knows, what he's been doing his last couple fights.
Beltran scoring the knockdown in round number 2. Okada in the same round wobbled Beltran, but he did not fall down. It's been an action-packed fight so far.
In the corner of Ray Beltran, Pedro Nimi says, I need you to work to the body first, then go to the head, and stay away from that right hand. Keep controlling the distance. In the corner of Okada, they said the distance is no good. Use the jab and keep the fight in the center of the ring like last round.
Okada did a good job in the 5th, as we mentioned, staying off the ropes, keeping the fight in the center of the ring, trying to maintain his distance control. Beltran lunging forward with a left.
And with Beltran's corner telling him to keep the distance, I mean, that's what Bomac, you were talking about. How do you keep the distance? Use the jab. In other words, you know, it's another way to try to put it. But
have y'all noticed something different at this in this round? The movement of Ray. Did his corner tell him to change tactics?
With Ray going back, Bo, and moving up, how about throwing some punches while he's doing this?
Well, maybe trying to get Okada to bait in so he can counter. Yeah.
Because I understand that he's moving around and stuff a little bit more, but he's also got to throw some punches. We're halfway through the round, and he's barely exchanging right now for the first time and actually taking more than he's giving.
4-punch combination from Okada, finishing with a straight right. Now Okada
stop.
Trickling back to that corner. That's where he does not want to be. That's where he found trouble in the first 4 rounds. Able to avoid it in the 5th, and so far here in the 6th, he's done a good job as well. So the adjustments that Okada's corner has asked him to make have worked as well. Staying off the rope, staying out of the corner, keeping the distance.
He said his best punch is that jab, and the jab is working for him right now.
Straight right from Okada. The jab setting up the combinations for Hiroki Okada.
You see what Ray doing? He's lunging forward, looking for that left hook.
Now he has Okada on the ropes. This is where Beltran has done his damage.
Stop. Box.
Jack Reese didn't say anything to Ray about that headlock that he just had Okada, and he kind of just let that go. But a little veteran tactic. Buy yourself a couple extra seconds there.
What we saw in the 5th and now the 6th round seems to be what Okada's corner wanted the game plan to be from the start. He got away from him, but now 2 rounds in a row, he's been able to slow the pace down, negate some of that charging from Beltran, and start to dictate the pace of the fight a little bit more.
And he threw more punches in that round as well.
Well, you know, you could say this. Has the age of Ray Beltran caught up with him tonight? This last 2 rounds, he hasn't really did anything. He's relied on one punch and one punch only. Is that left hook. He came out the last round moving a little bit. Okada didn't even bite into it. He stayed with his jab, and then they just finished the round out.
Do you think the way Beltran came out in those first 4 rounds, where he was the aggressor, maybe he thought coming into this fight that was his window to finish it, and now he's a little bit tired given the amount of energy he put forth in those first 4 rounds?
I believe he wanted to finish it like that. But
comes out here in the 7th with a little bit more energy.
Yeah. You see the difference? No movement. This time he's coming forward. Trying to get Okada to get into a firefight with him.
Let him go.
That left hook,
out of there.
that left hook is more subject to learn when they both firing at the same time.
And now that cut over the eye of Beltran seems a little bit more severe than it did earlier in the fight, as blood trickling down the bridge of his nose below his right eye.
I can't remember a Beltran fight where he was not
cut
or bloody, you know, through the fight. It's just he's got that skin.
Stop,
and he's in that style of fights.
Right above the right eye, below the eyebrow, we see Okada's elbows on the clinch getting a little bit high. The jab.
Strong
for Okada.
Yes.
Ray ain't even thinking about trying to move his head.
There's a jab from Beltran. Haven't seen too many of those, Bomac.
No, you haven't.
Stop.
He got one thing on his mind, is that left hook right hand.
The one thing we've seen now over the past 2 rounds for Okada, too, anytime he's on the ropes or when he's in the corner, he's trying to clinch. He's not even thinking about fighting in the corner anymore. He's just trying to get out of there.
Well, that's what Ray's fight is at. Sometimes it's being on the inside. Try to work from the inside upstairs.
Stop. 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 Good. Good. Stop.
You know, one thing that Ray used to do a lot too is feint and then throw his punches. And I haven't seen too much of that. Have you, Bo?
No, I haven't.
And Okada now for 3 rounds in a row has done a good job of splitting
it
the
seems
guard
like there's a cut
of
on Ray
Beltran.
Beltran's right eye, and the corner of Okada is very happy with the way he's using the jab and moving laterally.
Okada against the ropes. This is where he's been in trouble in this fight. Can Beltran take advantage?
Beltran landed a couple good shots right there. The right hand, left hook.
It's become almost predictable. Every time Okada's back touches the ropes, that's when we see Beltran be more aggressive. Works the jab. Beltran sends Okada back.
I don't think Ray should stand right there in front of Okada if he's not going to throw any punches.
Right.
If he's going to stand there just to get hit, then what's the point?
Stop.
He's just looking for that one shot.
So in terms of scoring this fight, we've had kind of 2 different fights. We've had the first 3.5 rounds, which were very back and forth, aggressive, a lot of power shots. Beltran knocking down Okada, maybe outpointing Okada in the first 3 rounds. But then after the fourth started, Okada has seemed to be the one to dictate the pace, to lead the rounds. And maybe at best, if you're Beltran, you hope for a close to a split. We're moving into the 8th, so maybe 4-3 is your best hope at this point. I don't even know if it's that close.
Well, you got to think about what the judges are looking at or what they're looking for. You know, if I'm looking at the fight, I'm looking at Ray's losing the fight. You know, Okada is doing what he needs to do. He's moving, using his jab, using his combinations. He got past the first storm, which is the first couple of rounds. Now, these last couple of rounds, he's been doing what he's supposed to do to win this fight.
And 2, you know, I said just Ray standing there at the end of the last round not throwing punches, and Okada not wanting to fight inside. But if they're both on the inside and Ray's not throwing punches, then stand there and let your hands go. And good for Okada, you know, throwing punches and combinations when they're on the inside and not just, you know, getting back to retreating, moving around the outside. Like he's doing right now, but it's just because he wants to get back to boxing a little bit more and working off that jab.
Yeah, it's the jab again for Okada.
Stop.
All reliable.
Separate.
8th round of a scheduled 10 for the vacant WBC Continental Americas title and the vacant WBO Intercontinental title. Eric Rothman, Christina Poncher, Brian Bomac McIntyre with you ringside here at the Save Mart Center in Fresno, California, as we get set for the finish of this fight, leading into the WBC World title fight between Jose Zepeda and Jose Ramirez. Beltran has Okada on the ropes.
And so this is what Beltran been looking for the last couple rounds.
Yep, hasn't had it
Stay
since
close
the 3rd.
to him. Right hand, left hook, right hand.
And he did land it. He landed it right there on the ropes.
But
And
do we have enough umph on it now to get him out of there, to get another drop?
He had enough umph in the 2nd round to put Okada on the canvas.
And just like you said, Eric, there goes Okada, holding him, walking him back to the middle. Each and every time his back is up against the ropes.
I mean, it's a good strategy. You're getting your butt kicked on the ropes. You don't want to keep finding yourself in that position.
Stop.
Beltran to the body and another tie.
Let him go. Let him go.
And this is only a 10-round fight. No world championship belts on the line. So this is going to be I'm curious to see how the judges have this one scored here.
Yeah.
You know, Okada saying he does believe and he does feel confident that he can win a decision here. He's not concerned that he's fighting here in Beltran's country. It hasn't hasn't been a factor. He won a close decision last time he was here in a fight that maybe a few people thought that he lost. He was dropped in the 11th round. I think it was a split decision against Christian Coria, who we saw win a great knockout earlier today, excuse me. So if it stays like this, back and forth, it's going to be close.
Coria winning a third-round knockout over Joel Diaz Jr. in the undercard of this fight.
What a knockout that was.
It was great.
Ooh.
Separate.
The knockout of the day. Good straight right to the body from Okada, but again, he's back on the ropes.
Tries to walk Ray back to the middle, but Ray holds his ground, leaning on Okada.
This is a close round right here.
The flow, the ebb and flow has been back and forth.
Yeah. This round more similar to the first 3 rounds of this fight. That maybe you could argue Beltran had the advantage.
I think that was a better round for Ray Beltran.
Yeah.
A second win here for Ray Beltran as we move into the 9th.
2 more rounds to go.
カウンターだね、カウンター。低めに。左意識も置いてないから、フックの意識も置いてないから、右狙った後にもう一回左打って。That the corner of Hiroki Okada, his trainer Naoki Sato, telling him that it's a close fight. Your counter's working, but it's close. And so they're seeing it, Bomac and Christina, the same way we are, which was a brawl in the first 3 rounds and settled over the next 3, maybe in favor of Okada and his patience and control. You see Okada's wife in the stands as well. But that last round reverted back to what Beltran had done successfully early in the fight.
He's coming out this round, trying to pick up where he left off last round.
Being inside, being in the phone booth is not where Okada wants to be. Does not want to be in the pocket, although a great combination of hooks by Okada to get that separation.
And I mentioned this before. I mean, not a lot of people have had a chance to see Okada fight here in the United States, as this is only his 2nd time fighting, but he was the former Japanese super lightweight champion. He defended that title 6 times and got himself ranked in the top 10 of most of the major sanctioning bodies here in the United States. So he really has earned this spot against Ray Beltran, and I think he's made a really good showing for himself here in only his 2nd fight in the United States. I think a lot of people are taking note that he's a good fighter.
He is a good fighter, and I watched his tape yesterday, and I knew this was going to be a good fight.
Overhead right from Okada. Bomac, you've asked Beltran to throw the jab all night. He's thrown a handful, and every time they've been successful, but he just doesn't go back to it.
Well, he said in the fighters meeting that he wanted to go back to the basics, and this is not what he's supposed to be doing.
Okada, 5-punch combination, and Okada goes down. The right hook from Beltran, the 2nd knockdown of the fight.
6.
Is that the difference maker in the fight? Did that just break this open?
It probably did. See if he can get out this round. He's still got a minute and 14 seconds left.
Okada knocked down in the 2nd and now again in the 9th.
And you know when Beltran smells blood, he goes for the kill.
He smells it. Okada on the ropes. Uppercut from Beltran. Right cross, left uppercut. Okada down.
That's a knockdown.
That should have been a knockdown.
That's a knockdown.
Okada in the corner.
They're stopping the fight.
They're stopping the fight.
They stopped the fight.
Okada's corner throws in the towel. 50 seconds to go in the 9th round, and Ray Beltran is the new WBC Continental Americas title holder and the WBO Intercontinental title holder with a knockout victory in the 9th.
The blue corner had seen enough. 2 knockdowns, and they decided they're going to save their fighter from any further damage, and they decided to throw in the towel. Jack Reese didn't have to stop the fight. The blue corner stopped the fight for their fighter.
Man, that was a great knockdown by Ray. And it don't surprise you that Ray got a knockdown, because that's what he was gunning for all night.
Well, for what it's worth, Okada fought a heck of a fight up until that point. I mean, it was even, if not, he was up on the cards up until that knockdown. But the experience, the power that Ray Beltran possesses, you know at any moment he's got that weapon.
Yes.
Can he unleash it? And unleash it he did. Look at this right hand. Boom! Right on the button. Okada never saw it coming.
Well, in rounds 8 and then at the close of the fight in round 9, Okada got away from what had worked in rounds 4 through 7, which was keeping his distance, working the jab. He allowed Beltran to get inside. He found himself on the ropes with nowhere to go, and his legs gave out from under him on that shot, and his corner stepped in right here on the overhand right from Ray Beltran, who at 37 years old, in his 4th opportunity in a fight against an undefeated fighter, finally gets his first victory.
I won't be surprised to see Ray Beltran back in another world championship fight.
He's at 140. That's tough. And he said he could go also still make 135.
Yeah.
He did say that.
So Okada falls to 19-1. It's his first loss in his career. Ray Beltran, it's win number 36. 36-8-1 for the 37-year-old Ray Beltran.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes 9 seconds in round number 9. A referee in charge, Jack Reese, stops the contest upon suggestion of the corner. He is the winner by way of knockout. He is now the WBC Continental Americas and WBO Intercontinental 140-pound champion, Raimundo Beltran.
Beltran, the winner over Okada in a very entertaining fight. The co-feature here in Fresno, California, leading up to the main event with Jose Zepeda and Jose Ramirez coming right up.